Once upon a time, nestled between towering mountains that kissed the clouds and silver rivers that sparkled like molten crystal, there was a kingdom that seemed plucked straight from a storybook. The air smelled of pine and morning dew, and the forest whispered secrets in the wind. In this wondrous land lived a king who was known far and wide not for his wisdom or decrees, but for his love of adventure. He loved the thrill of the hunt more than anything else in the world. The sight of a deer bounding through the forest made his heart race faster than the wings of a hummingbird. Each morning, the kingdom awoke to the sound of his horn, echoing across the mountains, as he rode his sturdy steed deep into the woods, chasing the fastest, most graceful deer he could find. The nobles and courtiers would watch him disappear into the forest and wonder, where does he go? What does he seek? But the king paid no mind to their questions. The forest was his playground, and he reveled in its wildness. One morning, the sun had barely climbed above the horizon, painting the world in golden hues. The king saddled his horse and rode out, eager for the thrill of the chase. Birds darted away as his horse thundered along the forest path, and the wind tugged at his cape as though it were alive. Soon he spotted a stag. Its coat gleamed like freshly fallen snow, its antlers majestic and proud. The king's heart leapt. He leaned forward, urging his horse onward, arrows ready, eyes fixed on his swift quarry. He was completely absorbed, and in that absorption, he forgot everything else. The path, the maps, even the company of his guards. Hours passed. Sunlight began to fade as shadows stretched long across the forest floor. The king slowed, noticing the trees seemed unfamiliar. Panic began to creep in. He had gone too far. The forest that once felt like a friend now seemed a labyrinth of twisting paths and looming shadows. Mist curled around the roots of ancient trees, and the air grew chill. The king realized with a sinking heart that he had lost his way. Just as he was beginning to fear the worst, a figure appeared through the fog. It was an old woman, small and bent, with hair as white as frost and eyes sharp with a knowledge that seemed almost otherworldly. She leaned on a twisted cane, and when she smiled, and she did, it was a smile that promised mischief. "You seem troubled, Your Majesty," she said, bowing slightly. The king, trying to steady his breath, replied, I cannot find my way back to the castle. Can you help me?" The old woman's eyes twinkled with a mysterious light. "I can," she said, "but there is a condition. I have a daughter, more radiant than the morning star itself. You must promise to marry her and make her your queen. Agree to this, and I shall lead you home. Refuse, and these woods may become your grave." The king's stomach sank. He had never been faced with a choice so sudden and dire. But survival left him no option. With a heavy heart, he nodded. "I swear," he said, "I will marry your daughter." The old woman's smile widened. "Then follow me," she said, beckoning him toward a path that seemed to shimmer faintly under the forest canopy. The path led to a cottage tucked away beneath towering oaks. Smoke curled lazily from the chimney, and snow lingered on the roof in stubborn patches from the previous winter. Inside, seated by a roaring fire, was the daughter. She was undeniably beautiful, with hair that shimmered like spun gold, and a face sculpted in delicate perfection. But her eyes were cold, distant, and devoid of kindness. She regarded the king silently, and a shiver ran down his spine. The old woman gestured toward her daughter. "This is your future bride." The king, bound by his promise, bowed. "I shall honor my word," he said. And so, with little more than ceremony, the king brought her back to his castle. Their wedding was held with great fanfare. Music swelled through the halls, banners fluttered from the towers, and the people cheered. But beneath the golden splendor, unease lingered. The king had children from his first queen, 3 sons and a daughter. He adored them beyond measure, and feared what harm his new bride might bring. In his wisdom and caution, he decided to hide them in a secret castle deep within the forest. The only way to find it was with the help of a magical crystal bird, which sang a clear, melodious tune whenever released, revealing the path to the hidden sanctuary. For a time, the children thrived in their secret haven, safe from any malevolent influence. But the queen noticed the king disappearing often, and being cunning and envious, she grew suspicious. She discovered the truth about the children and the crystal bird. Determined to seize power and eliminate any obstacle, she crafted golden cages, enchanted chains, and spells of transformation. One evening, while the king was away hunting, the queen followed the bird's song into the forest. Disguised, she entered the secret castle. The children, thinking it was their father, ran to greet her. With a flick of her wrist and words of dark magic, she cast her spell. The three princes were trapped in the golden cages, and as the chains tightened, their forms shimmered and shifted. Feathers sprouted from their shoulders and arms, and in moments the princes had become swans. Their wings flapped frantically, eyes wide with sorrow. Only the youngest princess managed to hide, watching the scene unfold with terror and determination. When the king returned, he found his daughter weeping. "Where are your brothers?" he asked, his voice trembling. They were taken, father," she sobbed, "turned into birds before my eyes." The king's heart shattered, yet he never suspected the new queen. Fearing for his daughter's safety, he urged her to return home with him. But the princess, brave and unyielding, begged for one more night in the forest, determined to rescue her brothers. Days and nights blurred together as the princess navigated the dense, twisting forest. She braved wolves' howls, treacherous rivers, and wind that whipped like icy knives. Hunger and cold tested her resolve, but her courage never faltered. She moved silently, guided by the faint glimmer of moonlight in the distant songs of enchanted birds. Finally, she reached a ruined tower, ancient stones covered in moss, the air thick with magic. She climbed inside and waited. As dusk settled, three swans descended gracefully, landing upon perches. Slowly their feathers fell away, and the princes returned to their human forms, awe and relief shining in their eyes. "Sister," they cried, "how did you find us?" "With love, courage, and determination," she replied softly. "I will not leave until you are free." The eldest prince spoke gravely. "To break the curse completely, you must weave cloaks from moon lilies, one for each of us. You must remain silent for 7 years. Not a word, not a smile. Fail, and the curse will bind us forever." The princess nodded, unwavering. Under the silver moonlight, she gathered the delicate moon lilies. Their petals glimmered like tiny stars, whispering softly in the night air. She stitched tirelessly, day and night, weaving love and hope into each cloak. For 7 long years, she did not speak or smile, focusing entirely on breaking the curse. Her beauty, kindness, and diligence became known throughout the land. Stories of the silent princess spread, whispered by travelers and travelers' children alike. One night, a prince from a neighboring kingdom came upon the princess by a river. She sat sewing the glowing petals, the stars reflecting in her eyes. He was mesmerized, enchanted not by her silence, but by her courage and devotion. He brought her to his castle and married her. Though she spoke no word, he loved her deeply, drawn to her gentle strength and unwavering heart. But envy never sleeps. The wicked stepmother, jealous of the princess's beauty and favor, whispered lies into the prince's ear. "She hides dark secrets," she said. "She devours her own children." Her accusations led to grave misunderstandings. When the queen bore her first child, the stepmother stole it, smeared her hands with false evidence, and screamed of dark magic. This cruel act was repeated with the second and third children. At last, the people murmured doubt, and the innocent princess was sentenced to die by fire as a witch. The day of execution arrived. The princess carried the three unfinished cloaks in her arms. Flames licked at the pyre, and the air trembled with tension. Suddenly, the sound of wings beating echoed from above. Three swans descended, circling her, their feathers glinting in the firelight. Trembling, she threw the cloaks over them. Instantly, her brothers stood restored, free from their feathered curse, though the youngest still bore a single wing. Her voice returned. "I am innocent," she cried. "For 7 years I remained silent to break the curse upon my brothers. It was the wicked stepmother who stole our children." The truth was revealed. The stolen children were returned, the stepmother punished, and peace and joy reigned throughout the kingdom. The princess married the prince, her brothers by her side. Together they ruled with kindness, courage, and love. The kingdom flourished, magic danced in every corner, and the story of the Swan Princess became a tale whispered in bedtime stories for generations to come. And so ends the tale of the Swan Princess, a story of love, sacrifice, courage, and the unbreakable bond of family. Love the Swan Princess? Subscribe and discover more magical tales on the channel.